Good morning, everyone. I hope you hear me. Happy to see that we already many, so I think we can start, so we don't delay too much the meeting. So I'm really happy to have you all, and I hope that you and your beloved ones are all fine. It has been some time since we have met with most of you, and the situation that we are all living has been a bit going the wrong way. So we were not able to finally meet physically, but we're here today to mainly discuss where we are and how we are proceeding together. So good morning, everyone. I'm Dania Abdelmalek, for people who might not know me. I'm the coordinator of this Interreg Med co-financed initiative called the Mediterranean Biodiversity Protection Community. It has been going on previously for some years. Since 2016, we have been trying to connect with most of you. We have developed quite some interesting work, and since November 2019, we had this second phase. We used to be called Panacea. Now we are called the Mediterranean Biodiversity Protection Community, and we have increased in terms of partners, associated partners, and the community as a whole. So we have some news that we would like to share with all of you, and the dedicated closed webinar that we have today. I think the registered participants were a bit more than 60, if I'm not wrong. And that was limited to the partners, so projects that are within the biodiversity protection community, in the previous phase, in the ongoing phase, and all of our associated partners, and some key stakeholders that showed interest and have joined us also today. So that's from my side, mainly to welcome you all. Just to let you know that instead of dedicating what you would have wished of one day and a half meeting, we are trying to reduce it to 2 hours and a half. We have quite some rich material to show you, to share with you. We hope that we can make it as interactive as possible. It is not easy, but we have developed some tools that I hope they work well, and we can get also your impression and your active participation in what we are going to present, and also validate in some cases with you. So the plan of these 2 hours and a half is to have a short introduction of what we have achieved, so what we have done until now together with most of you, which structure does this actual partnership have and the community, and mainly to dedicate some time after the coffee break to go a little bit more in depth in terms of what are our planned future activities, what do we plan to do until June 2022, that the project ends, and how can we engage to the best way possible with all of you in the different types of working groups, activities, general priorities that we have in mind. I think this is from my side for now. I will give now the floor to my colleague Sonsoles Saint-Roman from ETC-UMA as well, my colleague here at the university, who will introduce a little bit further for you and test a bit the tools that we will be using, and I will be joining you a little bit later for more. So happy to have you all. Thank you.
Hello, good morning again. Can you all hear me properly? Well, as Dania already mentioned, I am Sonsoles. I'm working with the ETC-UMA, helping to coordinate the old Panacea project, now with the new name, Mediterranean Biodiversity Protection Community. We're getting together today with those that already know us from the previous 3 years, and the new project representatives that are joining the community, these 5 new projects that will have the opportunity to present their main object up to 2021. The agenda is quite complete, I think, to have an overview of who we are and where we want to go together. This initial section in the agenda will focus mainly on how to use the webinar tools and how we're going to be organizing the information and the interaction. We will have a brief look back into what we have been doing over the past 3 years and where we got, so that we can build on our achievements to move forward and maybe change those things that need to be changed to be more effective with our common objectives. We will then have the opportunity also to look into these newcomers in the community with 3-minute presentations by the key representatives of these projects agreed to participate in the webinar today. We would like to have been able to see you in person and shake hands, but due to this situation we haven't managed. Maybe by the end of the year we'll have. Then we will also have all the partners in our community being introduced to you as project partners implementing this horizontal initiative, and we'll explain how we want to relate with you, how we want to interact with you to make the. We will continue with the general analysis of which type of institutions are participating and which kind of actions are envisaged, and then we'll try to agree with you a roadmap of actions and activities that we want to develop in the shape of working. This is a proposal that we want to discuss with you today to see if it's really according to our projects, the key priorities that we should target concerning policies, actions, and event. And finally, we'll look at what's coming immediately afterwards. Let's say this year, 2020, what is it that we want to do, and how do we need to act together to get to our target destination. With this in mind, we've devised as you see, a presentation and a series of questions and answers that will be shaped in different ways. Some of them will be shown on the screen to you. You can also share your answers or even raise questions using the chat that you should have at the bottom right of your screen. As a first quick exercise, I would like to ask participants to look at the top left in the menu. So you can see there's several buttons, and there's one for you with a little man symbol, where if you click, you can see that you can raise your hand, you can agree, disagree, step away, and give indications to the speakers so they can either slow down or speed up while they. If everybody understood, can you try to raise your hand using this button so we can see if it's working or not? Yes, I can see many raising hands. That's good. Everybody's understanding. Good. Some of them are not, but okay. Well, I would say I would give an applause to those of you that have managed to use the icon properly. Well done. We will have also the option of activating the camera. So it's only the speaker that will be activating the camera at the time when it comes. But we're planning also to take a photo of the group. So you'll see in the button on the top that you have a little icon for a camera, and we will ask you to activate it at certain point so we can take a. In addition to this, we're going to have a moderator, one of our partners, who will be helping us organize the timing. So if you hear a bell ringing at some point, that means that we're running out of time and we have only 1 minute to go to the next item. In addition to that, we will ask you also at the end of this webinar to give us your feedback concerning the way the webinar was organized, how to improve for further. So with this in mind, please do not hesitate to raise your questions and try to interact with us as we speak, as this is meant to be interactive and not only presentation after presentation after presentation. So any questions so far? No? Okay, no questions. So well, we've mentioned the objectives of the webinar. I'm trying to be on time. I have 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna move now on to talk about the main objectives, the main achievements of the previous 3 years of work. Most of you know us, so you will recognize that these are some of the tools and platforms and documents that we're developing together over the past 3 years. Next slide, please. Okay, we have one question also that we wanted to raise with you, as we know that this second phase of this project has involved also the renewal of some of the thematic projects. First phase, we have this tool for questions that we want you to use in addition to the chat, and I would like to see at least 5 or 6 answers coming from. So the question you should be able to see at the bottom of your screen, and it says, name one or several modular projects in the community that you would like to build synergies with, and perhaps be featured in one of our future events as a love story. I already know of one or two, but I'm not going to give you any hint. Would like the participants to provide the answer. Okay, see 5 answers coming. Anyone else would like to highlight a successful partnership story with another project, another institution in our community? 6 answers. We're getting better. See the results maybe? Yes, MPA Engage definitely is there. One example, MPA Networks with MPA Engage and PostBMed. Well done. Yes, and the community as we manage to create. Well, thank you very much for that. This is one example of the questions that might come up during the week. So now we're going to the achievement. So we're going to move to the next slide. So what have we done so far, and what have we managed to get together? Well, you know, we have a major achievement that has been bringing together all of you, all the thematic projects in our community, and all your results together in a kind of online platform and tool that is meant to have a life beyond the end of your project and give more visibility to your achievement. This platform is online at biodiversity.umas. It includes information about all your partners, all the key results that you achieved, mainly documents, gives access to documents, videos, multimedia materials, and also individual project viewers where you can locate partners in your project. In addition to that, you can mingle, so you can use information from different projects to create a new map, a new combination of data, and use this information to further analyze or identify gaps. This platform we're going to continue to build on. We've already prepared new project viewers for the 5 new projects. So if you go online, we'll ask you later on to validate this information to make sure that we got the right name, location of partners, pilot sites. The idea of this capitalization platform also is to try and serve as a knowledge base also for the contents that we are developing as a community. In particular, we managed to work on marine litter issues, and we're planning. I don't want to steal time from later on, that this will be presented later. It's just one of the examples, key achievements of the community. My colleague Emmanuel, I think, is giving you access to some questions now to see if you really knew about this, if you knew the platform, if you've ever used it, just to have some feedback from you, and we can improve the aspects that have not been so easy. So thank you for answering these questions as we speak. Those of you that do not know the platform yet, you can try and access it by typing biodiversity.uma.es. Okay, I see that more than half of our audience knows the platform. That's good news. Getting to 60%. Okay, thank you so much. Very useful to know. I think we still need to promote its use and keep working on it. Thank you. I have only 2 minutes. I'm running late, so I'm going to go to the next big achievement. Well, you can answer also the questions. Basically, another key common product of our community has been this catalog of biodiversity protection tools. We've published this information in several languages to enhance the reachability by local communities in different countries. The tools are basically profiles of the key methodologies and approaches developed by the thematic projects themselves. So in the first phase, we selected 16 different tools by the 11 projects that were part of the community at the time, and we classified them in 3 types. So we had monitoring tools, for instance, for marine litter and for climate change in protected areas. We have management tools related, for instance, to small-scale fisheries management in protected areas as well, and geospatial tools, which is one of which is the platform I just mentioned, that this online repository of information, spatial data collected among. Now, this is a key publication that we're going to be promoting also in this second phase. So with the new projects and the new results, we're also updating it with the next final edition planned for spring the end of this catalog of tools is available online, but we also have a printed version, limited printed version for those that might need it in French and English. Another key achievement that is not mentioned here is also the green in our guidelines that we developed also with other horizontal projects, and this has been also a collaborative effort by the community, provided an additional tool also to make our events greener. Now with this situation, we're making it, one of the key recommendations was having more online meetings, so I think this is a good proof that we get. And finally is the declaration of ecosystem-based approaches for biodiversity protection and management that we prepared together, consulted upon, and launched in Brussels in December 2018, and was signed officially during the final event that was organized in Malaga last October. We have managed to outreach outside the community and involve additional Mediterranean and European networks in endorsing this declaration. And during this second phase, we are planning to make these declaration principles into action, into concrete action that will reflect the principles contained. Well, I think that was it, basically. We're 4 minutes delayed only, so I think we're doing well. I would like to invite my colleague Serna now, who will be helping us introduce the new projects coming in the community and giving a hint of what's coming and reaching our work. So, Serna, you ready? Hello, Serna. Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I have two computers in front of me and now I'm on my mobile phone because something is happening with internet. So I hope all of you are hearing me well.
Hear you well, yes. A bit far.
Okay, Sonso, thank you for the introduction and the rules. So good morning everyone, and I'm here for people who don't know me. My name is Srna Sudar and I'm representing Ministry of Sustainable Development and Tourism from Montenegro as a partner in the project. And in previous project I was also involved as a partner representing the local self-government.
Hello, we cannot hear you anymore.
Do you hear me now? Okay. So in order not to take much of your time and with all these technical difficulties, I would like you to present our community the previous project that had done a great job and the newcomers to welcome there, and hopefully we will continue the great cooperation and the great work we have been doing for past 3 years and in next until 2022 June. So we had 11 projects in just to congratulate on their work. I will just mention very briefly Act for Litter, which was supporting the MPA action plans and preventive measures to reduce the impact of marine litter. They had some effective transferable measures for marine litter developed to be implemented by MPA managers. I would also like to congratulate Amara project dealing with marine special planning and protected areas. They also developed a WebGIS online tool. They have a metadata catalog, decision-making tool. I would also like to congratulate on the work done by Confish, linking genomic science and the fishing community and developing a governance framework for gather key information on empirical knowledge about a fishery system. The EcoSustain project dealing with water quality monitoring innovation solution and ecological sustainable governments in Mediterranean protected areas, developing short and long-term monitoring tools for freshwater quality. Also, the congratulations to Fish MPA Blue 2, working on governments of small-scale fisheries in protected areas and a small-scale fishery governance toolkit. Then Men Sea Litter, congratulations on their work. Marine litter, developing and working on marine litter monitoring, studying and testing new techniques for monitoring marine litter, developing joint protocols for marine litter. They had training and transferring actions, And also congratulations to MPA ADAPT for work on monitoring and adaptation of marine protected areas to climate change and implementing protocols to measure temperature and upload and use of TMedNet through the TMedNet platform. Then post-BMed, they worked on the strategy for joint management of Posidonia banquets for beaches and dunes, and also developing guidelines for good practice governments in protected areas and coastal tourist hubs. FAROS for MPAs that worked on blue economy and marine conservation, safeguarding Mediterranean's marine protected areas, delivering recommendation on collaboration between marine protected areas and 7 maritime sectors like energy, transport, tourism, seafood, etc. And WetNet, participatory, that worked on participatory approaches to wetland governments and coordinated management and networking of Mediterranean wetlands. They have developed wetland contract model tool and guidelines to support marine protected managers to implement a wetland contract. This was very briefly, of course, about our, let's say, I will not say all, but the beginners of the biodiversity protection community, like a team, a family. And now I would like to call the newcomers to briefly introduce themselves. First one would be MPA Engage, and Joaquim, I hope you are here and that you can say briefly about your project.
Yes, good morning. How are you doing? Thank you for this opportunity of delivering the key messages or the key points of the MPA Engage project. This is a continuation, an upgrade, and an extension of the previous MPA Adapt project. So in this case, in MPA Engage, we are 14 partners that they work in 7 different countries. And among the partners, we have 4 research institutions, 2 regional administrations, and 2 NGOs, and 7 marine protected areas that are working in the project. I saw that among the participants, we have 2 of our partners, so I'm really glad that they are here. And if you want to say something, you can have the opportunity to do it during this webinar. The main goal of MPA Engage is not other than put marine protected areas at the front line for adaptation strategies faced to climate change in the Mediterranean, and as well from the lessons learned, try to export or transfer this to other areas of the world. And for this, we are developing adaptation action plans in the 7 marine protected areas that we work in the project. And to fulfill this goal of developing action plans, we are developing different a complete toolbox, especially designed for MPA managers to fulfill this goal, which is we are developing and expanding the monitoring protocols that we started in MPA Adapt. So now we will have 11 monitoring protocols, harmonized and standardized protocols that with the full different tools that are required. We are organizing capacity building events and developing collaborative web tools, and this will support the data sharing and transferring to other platforms for other users. And all these tools are being tested in the 7 marine protected areas. So they are developing monitoring activities, socio-ecological vulnerability assessments, participatory approaches, and as a novelty for this project, we are enhancing the tools of marine citizen science projects in the marine protected areas to enhance the data collection and as well to the implication of key stakeholders in the process. And of course, we have another work package on capitalization to develop the policy dialogue and mainstreaming. And finally, we have a really strong work package on communication and raise awareness activities in the different for the project and as well in the different marine protected areas. So as I say, the toolbox, the complete toolbox, is intended to be used by the marine protected area managers, and what we really want is to empower Mediterranean local actors in a coordinated and an harmonized way. And the final and the ultimate goal is clear: to have a significant impact in enhancing the conservation and sustainable use of the Mediterranean. And we came with a project slogan or motto that it's not other than act local and think Mediterranean, that we started to post it in our social networks. So if you want to know more about our next activities, stay tuned on the different project channels. And as I say at the beginning, thank you for this opportunity to put on the spot MPA Engage project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joaquin. Can I ask you to activate your camera so we can see you?
I don't know where I activate my camera. Sorry, I don't.
Okay, the top menu. You have the icon to raise your hand, and next to it you have one icon.
Now I have it activated because it was not activated. Yes. Sorry.
Okay, so perhaps you can show your face, and I will ask the following presenters to do the same.
Okay.
Okay.
Now you see my face?
Yes, thank you. We just wanted to make sure you look good. Thank you very much.
Well, I don't know if I look good or bad, but I'm here. Yeah. Okay.
Well done. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. So I will speak about the MPA Networks project.
Thank you, Marie. Can you activate your camera too? Yes, please.
Okay. Now it's working, no? Hello, everybody. Yeah, so I will briefly present you the MPA Networks project coordinated by MedPan with different MPA managers as partners: National Park of Porcro, Portofino, Torre del Cerrano, Torre Guaceto, Brioni, Zakynthos, Strunian, and also Inca in Albania and the Marias Foundation in Spain. So the main objective of this project is to support effective marine protected areas through strong and connected human networks in the Mediterranean. We will focus on providing sustainable solutions to challenges that require, let's say, a supra-MPA approach, so working between different MPAs. And we will specifically focus on management effectiveness of MPA, and especially management of small-scale fisheries in MPA, conservation of mobile species, in particular marine turtles and cetaceans, and also the development of sustainable financing mechanisms for MPAs. What we will do, main action to tell you, will be to test some tools from previous projects on some pilot areas that you can see. You can see the list of pilot areas in the slide below. And we will then facilitate transfer and replication to Mediterranean MPAs. So this pilot action, let's say, will be on the 4 topics mentioned before. One important axis of action will be to develop, to initiate or to reinforce networks of MPA managers at national level, for example, in Croatia or in Spain. And we will also support through this project indirectly, let's say, some national networks in France, in Greece, and in Turkey. We will also support some supranational networks like AdriaPan in the Adriatic that will become AdrianPan in the Adriatic and Ionian Sea thanks to this project. We will also support, thanks to collaboration between Portofino and Porcro, a network of MPA managers in the Pelagos area. And at Mediterranean levels, of course, there is the MedPan network, but we will reinforce thematic networks, especially through some working group on the 3 topics: fisheries, financing, and mobile species. What we will do also is to create connection between all those networks at different levels. And something that I would like to mention is that also we will create connection with other networks of MPA managers like MedPan at regional level, but in other regional seas, in West Africa, in the Caribbean, and in North America especially. And the idea is to have a strong network at all those levels, to technically and strategically support MPAs. Another key action will be to set up a permanent and operational focused capacity building program for MPAs in the Mediterranean. And the idea for that is to have some MPAs that will play a role of training centers with some training modules on the topic mentioned before, to be delivered regularly, so that MPA can be trained on a regular basis. And the MPA training centers identified will be Brioni in Croatia, Porcro National Park, together with the Calanque National Park in France, Zakynthos National Park in Greece, and also beyond this program, there will be also Gokova MPA in Turkey and Kuryat Island in Tunisia, thanks to co-financing, let's say. There will be also experience and knowledge sharing system and events with some regional workshop, database, MPA toolbox. And the last key action will be, of course, to support influence and support policy making, at national, regional, European and the Mediterranean level. And to do that, of course, we will use the different networks that I presented at different levels, and also at international levels, thanks to this collaboration beyond the Mediterranean with other networks. One key point will be quite soon this year, will be to prepare a post-2020 Mediterranean roadmap for MPAs. And for this process, we will use the Mediterranean MPA Forum that maybe some of you know. We will co-organize it with the SPARAC and WWF, and you will receive a save the date soon, so it will be a main event end of this year. And the main idea is to develop this roadmap because one important thing is to be in line, and one important thing generally for this project is to be in line with the EU New Green Deal and also the ongoing, in discussion, global post-2020 framework for biodiversity at CBD level. As you know, there is many discussion related to MPA to increase the percentage of MPA to go to 30% and to increase the strong protection, the fully protected areas of 10%. So this is very important, but this project will aim at focusing on effective management of those MPA and financial sustainability of those MPA, and also to ensure the recognition of the role of networks of MPA managers at different levels as, let's say, operational tools and the key tools to support those this effective management of MPA. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie. I think our colleague Serna is having some problems connecting again, so I'm going to take over if you don't mind. Our next speaker is going to be Lucille and Ignacy. They're both working for SCP RAC in Barcelona, and they're going to be talking about Plastic Busters MPA.
So hi everybody, and thank you also for this opportunity that you've given us. Well, it's a pleasure to see some of you because it's been a while through all the meetings that we met. So I will try to resume in few lines Plastic Buster MPA. So Plastic Buster MPA was created with one goal, is to maintain biodiversity and to preserve natural ecosystem in marine protected areas by consolidating Mediterranean efforts against marine litter. One of the novelty of this project is that it addressed the whole management cycle of marine litter, from monitoring and assessment to prevention and mitigation. So the first action of the team was to elaborate an harmonized approach for monitoring macro and micro litter. It was based on recent scientific and policy advances. And then these harmonized methodologies have been tested in selected sites. For example, last summer, maybe you followed up through social media and also on our website. We launched the Marine Litter Research Expedition in 4 MPAs, where a lot of samples were collected in different marine compartments. And now these samples are being processed at the laboratories, and the results will then feed into a comprehensive diagnosis analysis of the impact of the marine litter on biodiversity, but also on endangered species. All of this in MPAs. Our project also developed a forecasting model to identify maritime hotspots in Mediterranean MPAs, and this will provide valuable information to support targeted prevention and mitigation action. Another quite important activity of our project is also the testing phase. So Plastic Buster MPAs will set up and implement at least 10 demonstration projects in pilot MPA. And then the lesson learned from this demo will be captured in a set of guidelines to support replication actions, so we can ensure that these pilots are replicated. And well, the two last phases of the project are the transferring and capitalizing phases. In one part, the project will implement knowledge transfer, capitalization, and replication mechanism. And in a second time, the project will mainstream the results of all the activities via a joint governance plan that will help to empower MPA manager, decision maker, and also other stakeholders to implement action that would be coordinated and targeted to fight together against marine litter. So the expected results, main expected results of the project are quantitative and qualitative diagnosis of the impacts of marine litter on marine biodiversity, but also included endangered species. It is also to enhance the protection of the biodiversity and also the natural ecosystem through really concrete and targeted prevention and mitigation actions. And also it's to accelerate the knowledge transfer to other Mediterranean MPAs, and especially the MPAs from the south of the Mediterranean basin. So I'll just conclude with few numbers. So our project has a budget of approximately 5 million. It's a 4 years duration project. It started in February 2018, and it will end in in January 2022. So right now we're quite in the middle of the project, and it brings together 15 implementing partners and 17 associated partners from 8 countries. So we are quite a big family working on this project, which is also another strength from this project, is that it's really an innovative partnership consortium in which both institutional and operational partners, they really complement each other in all the phases of the project, because we have university, government, NGOs, MPAs, international institutions. So it's quite interesting to see how we can all work together towards the same goal.
Thank you, Lucille. That was very helpful. At the end of these presentations, we'll have the chance to ask some questions. So now I'm going to ask Maria del Mar Otero from IUCN Med in Malaga to please introduce us to the second phase of post-BMed. Activate your camera.
Thank you. I'm struggling to find the video, so I'm sorry, I apologize for that. So thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the, I tried, but it's not possible. If I can at the end, you will see me, okay? So as the colleagues also said, this is a project that it continues from our first project that was a study phase. It's a project with a lot of pragmatism in the way that it's addressed something that we see in many Mediterranean areas in the coastal environment, which is our beaches when we go to the beach, and how they are managed in a way. So as we say, it comes from the first phase of the project that was to create a strategy how to address the Posidonia banquets on the beaches, where we did a study on understanding what was the situation in different countries and how best would be to prepare from operational way and also a strategic way different aspects from policy and also knowledge and management, operational management, on how to address an issue that we have. So from this we move to PostMed 2, which, as you see, there is a project that is targeting the ideas on how to implement, how to test these different intervention measures and build a local framework for decision making. Is targeting to prepare some monitoring protocols that help to address the coastline, let's say, from the part that we already we have very well prepared, like how to monitor Posidonia to the part in the coastal environment. And it's working also mostly as well on intervention management in different coastal protected areas. It has a strong part at the end on policy and knowledge transfer. Before I go into detail, the project, it has 4 regions working, from governmental regions working in the project: Region Sud, Central Macedonia, Sardinia, and the Baleares government as with a special status for us, and also the government in part from Croatia, Natura Lladera. It also has scientists and also colleagues that work in MPAs. The project also has 20 partners from different aspects, from the municipalities to tourism boards, to those ones related to protected areas itself, to other central regional governments, to forecast and mainstream some of our results as well, and other main governmental or institutional bodies that are related to this environment. It's a project that will run to the end of 2022, July. And is, as I say, is a project working to implement a local framework for decision making on Posidonia coastal zone, what we call it, Posidonia coastal area, to provide a better integration on the management aspects and the tools that can be incorporated in there, increase awareness, which is very important in many countries, tackle the policy. Sometimes we've seen and we examined before how Posidonia banquets, when they get to the beaches, are mistaken by different ways, and they are reused, or these are different mismanagement there that can be okay sometimes done in a optimal way, and sometimes it can be, depends, in a more better way to be done. So we're trying to homogenize and provide some conditions and experience setting among those ones, and for the municipalities working in the Mediterranean, where there is Posidonia banquets and dunes and Posidonia environment in the marine side. So to finish, our final part is to enhance this collaboration, and for this we will work a lot with the other networks like the Blue Flag network and also municipalities network and so on, and also upscaling up the road with the regions and hopefully with the countries by then. Of course, we are in a challenging situation as well, has to say. COVID is not an easy situation for a project such as this, but we are managing in the best way and in the way that we think can be little by little putting these seeds for a better management in the environment where the protected areas are. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. Can you of your no?
I can't. Maybe it's because I am not for the Adobe disposal, so I am for the other internet. So
yes, it could be that with the browser it's not allowed to use the camera, just with the application.
Okay, so that is why. Sorry about it.
Okay, It's okay. Thank you, Mar, for the presentation. I'm sure we'll have the opportunity to hear more about it. The next project in the list is TuneUp, is a continuation somehow of the project WetNet that was with us in the previous 3 years. I would like to invite Anastasia Lesporido from Anatoliki, the lead partner in the project, to give us an overview. Can you please stick to 3 minutes for the presentation? Activate your camera. Anastasia, can you?
Now can you hear me again?
Could increase the volume slightly? Thank you.
Right this way, or are you?
I can hear you well.
So I will try to speak without.
Okay, and what about the camera? Any chance?
Computer sound. If you can hear me.
Like the camera, perhaps?
Sorry. Can I start now? Dear members of the Mediterranean Biodiversity Protection Community, as you already seen, my name is Anastasia Lespouridou and I'm coming from Greece. I'm representing here together with my colleague Kostas Konstantinou, the leader partner of TuneUp project, which is Anatoliki, and also all the other partners. Some of them, I can see them in the audience here today. For this project, the TuneUp project, we have 12 different organizations, institutes, universities, agencies, as you can see, that joining forces coming from 7 Mediterranean countries and having as a common goal, as the project title says also, to promote multi-level governance for tuning up biodiversity protection in marine areas, marine protected areas. So the goal is in line with the priority access 3.2 to maintain biodiversity and natural ecosystems through strengthening the management and networking of protected areas. The partners, the logos of whom we can see at the lower end of this slide are Anatoliki, us, the regional development agency from Eastern Thessaloniki, FAMP from Spain, the Federation Andalucía de Municipios and Provincias, the Mediterranean Wetlands Initiative, the Mediterranean Sea and Coastal Foundation from Italy. Also, we have research under the DRC SAZU from Slovenia, Tour de Valar from France, Theobert Life from Spain. Also, we have the University of Montenegro, especially the Institute for Marine Biology from Albania. We have the Ministry of Environment and Tourism, the University of Roma Tre, and also from Greece, another partner, the Ambrakikos Gulf Lefkada Management Body and Aqua Program from Italy. So quite a big group of partners. As it often happens with indirect projects, and you also said so, the idea was a participatory governance process was not a newly born one. The project builds on the results of the successfully finished indirect project MedWet, taking advantage of the flexibility and feasibility of the river wetland methodology elaborated within this project. TuneUp will attempt, and we are pretty confident it will succeed, to further develop this multi-stakeholder, multi-level governance tool addressing to marine protected areas. So we intend to achieve the following results: stronger coordinated and proactive involvement of key stakeholders in MPAs, improve the effectiveness of marine protected areas management by integrated multi-level governance tools and international and regional policy instruments, more intensive transnational cooperation and networking between marine protected areas. TuneUp's approach is based on seeking coordination between the management institutions at all levels, as well as integrating the funding and management plans of them, thus reinforcing the goals of protecting biodiversity and natural resources. The regulatory framework concerning marine protected area management and the degree of the integration of participatory processes in management plans are greatly varying from country to country. Thus, the degree of elaboration of the contract may also vary as a result from country to country. Some of the partners of the current program that were also wetland partners, so they have the experience and they will extend their existing wetland contracts to involve also the whole marine protected areas, but others like us in Greece will try at this level to gather the stakeholders and persuade them to realize that their common interest is to share their efforts and help them to translate them the knowledge from other countries. I mean, concerning such participatory processes. Sorry. Within our project, 10 pilot marine areas are going to be scattered around the Mediterranean basin, are going to be involved in the testing activities. So we have started actions. This concerns registering the regulatory framework governing the partner countries in relation to MPAs, as well as the scientific description of their specific characteristics, but mainly also the progress in the elaboration of the stakeholders mapping, both public and private entities. At the end of this project, we want to create a regional policy toolkit to support the regional authorities to implement participatory processes in their policy, and to do that we will finish with the capacity building seminars. We are in the beginning of our project, so we are glad that we are joining this community and hope to have a fruitful cooperation.
Thank you, Anastasia. Could you please try to activate your camera perhaps so we can see your face as well?
It is not activated because
okay, perhaps I know that some participants are having issues once they're connected. Okay, you see yourself and then it's a preview and then you need to activate it. Yes, now I think we can see you. Hello, welcome. Thank you for the speech. Well, now that we've heard our new projects, perhaps some of our people in the audience want to ask some questions. We're slightly late according to the agenda, but please go ahead and raise your question. Can I see any raised hands for someone that wants to ask a question? No, perhaps too early. We need to warm up a bit. Okay, so if everybody's happy, I will invite now our colleague Carolina from MedCities, partner in our project, to also introduce the team members. So maybe now that you know who we are, be able to ask questions more directly. Thank you, Anastasia, for activating the camera. You can turn it off now, and we will take a photo later on, so be ready to activate again. Thank you. Carolina.
Thank you, Sonsoles, and good morning, everybody. I'm Carolina from MedCities, and I'm the one having the pleasure to introduce you to our team. For those who were already part of our community during Panacea, many faces will be familiar. We have mainly enlarged the partnership. First of all, I would like to mention that what you see on this slide is the core project team. There are 5 other members of these institutions, from directors to project assistants, communication officers, financial departments, that are also engaged in this project. But I will introduce you now to those who you will relate more closely and hear from more often. Leading the project, we continue luckily having ETC Yuma with Dania and with Sonsoles, Emmanuel and Marco on the team. ETC Yuma is not only leading the project, but also the community building component of our activities. For instance, all the process under which this webinar is taking place. From MedCities, we are leading communication. We have Mireia and myself on the team, and we are working hand with hand with one of our newcomers, Latte Creative, which is a company specialized on communication, on non-for-profit communication. And you will soon have the opportunity to see and meet Berenice Weber, which is right underneath in the slide. Going up again, we have the Inter-Mediterranean Commission of the CPMR with Liz and Adeline, and they are leading our transferring activities. And for capitalization, we have Plan Bleu with Gloria and Antoine. Getting back to the newcomers, we count for this phase with the Ministry for Sustainable Development and Tourism from Montenegro, with Ivana and with Serna, and with the Marine Institute of Croatia, with Katerina, Peter, and Drasko. They will be fundamental, among others, for the territorialization of some of our activities in the area. But now that you know our faces, how do we engage with you and with the community? You can see in this graph that we are quite a complex community with the 7 project partners interacting with 15 projects, some of them already completed, but they're still part of our community, and 4 new ones, and one that is running already from the past period. What we do is to work together with all of you towards specific common objectives through working groups that try to find synergies around common thematic priorities. And to generate this communication, we use the formula of the companion. So each project from the past period and the new period has a partner allocated to be the companion. Hopefully, all new projects, you will already know who your companion is, but I will refresh it. MedCities is accompanying MPA Engage and PLASTICBUSTERSMPAS. ETC-UMA, Dani and Sonsoles accompany MPA Networks. Liz and Adeline from the CPMR accompany PostVMed2. And Gloria and Antoine from Plan Bleu accompany TUNAP. And what does this mean? It's mainly that we keep a closer contact with you, we call you, or we get in touch by other means every 6 weeks approximately, and with the spirit of updating each other on the progress of your project and ourselves on the progress of our common activities under our community. We talk about possible synergies identified, we talk about interesting outputs that we can share, we can talk about validating common products. It's something alive that evolves along project implementation. We usually contact the project leader and the communication officer of each project, but US projects are of course free to tell us someone else from your team that you want to get engaged in this regular contact. Regarding former projects, we don't forget about them. Quite a number of you are present in this meeting, and you will continue having the previous companion, and we will continue being in touch with you because we want to keep you engaged, and we are thinking already on how to materialize this relation. So you will hear from us as well. I think I'm pretty much there, but we want to get your feedback on this structure and this mechanism. And we have 3 questions for you. It will be great, or even more than 3, that it will be great if you can share your answer. So I see already 4 people answering luckily yes. So the question, did your companion already get in contact with you? And a common validation of this process. You also have the possibility to propose improvements. And at the bottom end, you have the possibility also to name contact persons, the focal points for your project. Okay, in proposals, I see that, and we take notes to contact at the same time the lead partner and the communication officer in the same email and not separately. That's good. And I don't see much more action. So I think maybe we can move ahead as we have some delay. But so now that you know our partnership better, well, maybe we can open to questions from the audience on this. I don't see any questions, so maybe as we are a bit delayed, and now that you know better our team, and I hear a bell, It's my pleasure to pass you the word to Nelly, who will introduce you to our community at large. So thank you very much for listening, and I try to get out.
Hello everybody, I hope you can hear me. I will share the camera. Okay, so thank you very much, Carolina, for this presentation of the team. So now on my side, I will present you, now that we have heard about the former modular project, the new modular project, and also about the team. Now we'll present you who we are as a community. So what we have done is that we have done a mapping of the community from your application forms, but also from the information that we got from your companion. And so here I will present you only a summary of that, and you can find the full mapping in the background document that we sent you before this webinar. At the same time that I will be talking, you will see appear some questions to validate the information that we have on those slides. You can, if you don't see everything on the slide, you can give us your comments. But also you can also later on send us your comments from the background document, because as I said, you will see more matrices and more information in this document, and so like that we can take them into consideration and include them in the final version of this document. At the end we will also have a short session with questions, and so I think the easiest way is, if you have questions, put them in the chat pod that you see at the bottom right of the screen. Let's start. So who we are as a community. So as you already understood from the modular presentation, the modular project presentation, you saw that we have a very diverse key research and thematic areas in this community. It goes from climate change, vulnerability and adaptation, to impacts of pollution, management of natural resources such as fisheries, wetland, etc. So we have a community that is very diverse, but at the same time we have some common priorities, and the common priorities we have is the design and widespread use of common and transferable tools to better manage and monitor and respond to cumulative anthropogenic pressure in the Mediterranean to reduce their negative impact on biodiversity. So this is the common priority to all of the projects. Then, as you know, we are a 15 modular project in this community, plus the 2 horizontal projects. So 9 projects were from the first call, 2 from the second call, and 4 were newly approved in last October. So as you see on this time frame, the project have started end of 2016, and they will be ongoing until mid-2022. What we wanted to represent here with the dot lines especially is to show that even if some projects ended already, officially ended, we still want to keep you in the community, and we still think it is very important that you participate in this community, and that you still give your input, and that you are still included. So we show that with those dot lines to show that we will keep contact with you. What you can also see is that, as mentioned before, some projects are actually a follow-up on the previous project. For example, MPA Engage is following MPA Adapt. So this gives some link between the project and the topics. So then the next information is who we are and how many are we in this community. So actually the community involves 342 partners from 239 institutions. Those two numbers are different because some institutions are partners in several modular projects. All the partners, they are distributed among 24 countries. 18 of them are in the Mediterranean, and we have some other country participating, like Portugal, Switzerland, Belgium, Denmark, and the Netherlands. What we also see here is that even though the program is financing the northern part of the Mediterranean, we also have involved in our community some southern and eastern institutions and partners. So this is through the associated partnership. And so we have, for example, Algeria, Egypt, Lebanon, Turkey, and some other country in our community, which is actually very important as the Mediterranean Sea, not to only involve the northern shore. So then where are we, and actually where do we work? So the community encompasses 75 pilot areas, 63 of which are protected areas. Those protected areas, they have various protection categories. You have national parks, you have natural parks, Natura 2000, Ramsar sites, etc. Some of the sites, those sites are located in 12 different countries, and some of those sites are what we call mega sites. It's because there are several modular projects working in this site, and so we have 21 of those type of sites. And out of those 21, we have 5 sites that have more than 4 modular projects working in them. Those 5 sites are like Bonifacio, Brindisi, Portofino, Zakynthos, and Sazzani Island. So those are those what we call mega sites, where you have several projects working at the same time in those sites. And so this can give also, this is like an opportunity in this community to work together between modular projects. Then, as you heard from Sonsoles before, so early this morning, there is one important achievement of this community. It is our ecosystem-based management declaration that was launched in December 2018 at the EU Parliament, and that was officially signed during the Malaga event end of last year in October in Malaga. And this declaration also gives us some additional presence in the region. And as of now, it has been signed by nearly 200 Mediterranean and European institutions. So it is supported by quite a large number of institutions. So those few slides gave you an overall idea of who we are in this community, of what we do, and where we are placed. You saw those questions, so I saw some of the answers. Of course, if you have, as I said, if you have more comments on that, feel free to send us later on your comments. So now we have a bit of time for questions. So if you have any question on that part, maybe you can write that on the chat, and then we can open your microphone. No question? Everything is clear? Okay, I have here one question. Wu from Libya. I cannot tell you like this. I would have to go and check, Luca, but I can check later in our files, and then I'll let you know. I'll send you a message in the chat session. Apart if maybe Sonsoles knows.
We'll need to check them out myself, but yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe if I may, do you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so Sonsoles will check and get back to you, Luca, but I think the Libyan contact is the national focal point of UNEP-MAP that has joined our activities and showed support and interest in being part of what we will do in the second phase. So we had the lady, I forgot her name, coming to the final event, and she was kindly brought by our colleague Hélène Lemaitre, the director of Plan Bleu. That's for the first question. Then I see that Salma, you raised a question. I'm very happy to have you here. Salma, you used to be my professor back then at AUB in Lebanon, and I'm really happy to have you as part of this community, so welcome. And I see that you are already involved in an Edu Biomed project. I think it might be these are the type of relations that we want to strengthen with other projects that are relevant to the community and to widen our scope broader than the EU side of the Mediterranean, because the use of ecosystem-based approaches is something that would need to engage the whole Mediterranean basin. So we're happy to hear more, to get more information from the EduBiomed and to see how we could integrate that. Later on, we will be discussing a bit more details, and I guess it might start making sense to see where we can engage and how.
Okay, so if there is no other questions, I will thank you for your contribution, and now I will leave the floor to Berenice from Latte that will introduce you a nice video. Okay, so actually I think Berenice, she has issues with maybe with her connection or microphone. So right now it was a short coffee break time that will last 5 minutes. So you have time to stretch, to stand up, and during that time we will put a video on the declaration as we just discussed before. So please come back once the video and the music stop, so that we can start again in 5 minutes, 11:30.
United for effective actions to protect the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean's diversity of plants and animals, biodiversity, is an amazing gift to us. They play a crucial role in our lives. Wetlands, rocky shores, sandy beaches, seagrass meadows host an amazing variety of life, which are all part of an interconnected ecosystem. This Mediterranean ecosystem is part of our daily life, and it provides essential goods and benefits like clean air, water, and healthy food. However, overexploitation, pollution, unsustainable fisheries, and climate change are affecting the balance. Human activities have become a major threat to our sea and to our daily lives. We need to act now. Many Mediterranean people, social organizations, companies and institutions are well aware of this need. Our community, over 200 partners in the region, has worked for 3 years to create a common base for our shared goal. We have practiced a constant dialogue, exchanging experiences and knowledge, linking science, management and policy actors. We have discovered that solutions to protect our environment need to be designed beyond borders, free from self-interest and short-term economic gain, and have then created the Mediterranean Declaration for an ecosystem-based approach. Our declaration is an important step to protecting our future. Its main points of action are to acknowledge the value of and threats to the Mediterranean, to engage in dialogue and cooperation with all economic sectors for a sustainable future, to exchange experiences and good practices to influence better policies and practices, to activate cooperation mechanisms for effective biodiversity conservation and ecosystem management. Sign up and share our declaration for the Mediterranean today, because together we are stronger and more effective. All together for a better Mediterranean.
Okay, so I think we would need to start again. I hope you can see me and hear me. Yeah?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay. Very well. So yes, sorry for the short break, but as we are running late and we don't want to lose too much of your time after 12:30, I think it's best to start. So I think that so far you have heard a bit on what has been done, the major highlights, I would say. You know a bit more the newcomers to the community, and you have had also a list of the previous projects that have ended. But we want to engage quite strongly in the developments of the upcoming years. So we will be getting back to you as we did to invite you here, but more topics that we will be developing together and prioritizing in our action plan. So from my side, now I want to go a little bit more in depth in terms of what we plan to do in these upcoming 2 years. I think I will need to be a bit fast in terms of providing a first overview, but that will help us then help you have a bit more of an understanding of where you see your project fitting best, to which priorities, to which working groups, so we can then address them in a later stage, which means in the upcoming few weeks, through some concrete webinars that we plan to prepare for some thematic priorities. So I hope I will guide you through where we will be focusing on, what we will be doing in the future, and you can get us through the questions we will be asking you here, but also through email without any problem, to hear more from you, where you see yourself, how can we engage better, and how can we coordinate more our activities. Good, so I think I can move my slides myself, yes. How can we reach our goals together? What are mainly our goals and priorities? First, I need to go to the programmatic priorities that we, by signing the contract with the Interact Med program, we have committed to. So here you could see 3 types of outputs that we plan to support the program achieving. So these are EU-wide priorities that the Interact Med program supports with for this part of the Mediterranean, and through our project and our community, we want to engage and help the program supporting these priorities. So as you can see in these green boxes, we committed to support in engaging number of joint governance plans in the Mediterranean region. We have engaged in supporting a number of protected areas to be engaged with priority actions and activities related to biodiversity through different type of actions, being MOUs signed, being charters, being protocols signed, in order to improve effectiveness of their management strategies. And the third output, what we call the output indicators, is the surface, so the area of habitats supported to attain a better conservation status. What I put at the end of the slide, at the right hand button, are what we have reached in the previous phase. So we have reached the output that we had set for ourselves in terms of number. These are quantitative indicators. I don't want to go into the details. All this information is in the background document. You can see through the different networks that we have engaged with, the different targets that we have reached, and the different, marine protected areas, regional institutions, regional governments that we have been engaged with, and how we reached these previous targets together. Through your projects, you see the names of your projects, being a project that has ended or an ongoing project. We see the engagement is through, of course, your project and the added value of what we hopefully will be doing to reach them. So these are, in a way, the ways we see us reaching these targets together. So in the background document, page 13, you can know more about these targets. In terms of the participating groups in this community, so part of the mapping process that we have done to your application forms, from what we got from the survey, we shared with you what previously Nelly has mentioned. You can see an overview through this graph on what is the typology of the participating groups in the community, and you can see clearly that there is a big number of local and regional public authorities, but also national authorities that we are reaching out through the partnerships, through the networks, through the advisory board. members and associated partnerships that we have. This is very important because it's how we would reach concrete steps and actions in the different territories, and this is where we want to really engage much more during this phase. Now that we have concrete results, we have tools that we have prepared for some years together, and of course we want to maintain and improve all of these tools, but we want to go more into actions on the ground, and we would reach this through the engagement already of different national public authorities. We have a partner that is the Ministry of Sustainable Tourism and Development in Montenegro, for example, with whom we want to engage clearly on the ground with hopefully improvements, more effective management of their natural resources, and hopefully to reach the declaration of the first two marine protected areas in Montenegro. We also have regional governments with whom we have worked very closely, and we want to strengthen this. We have worked very closely with the region of Catalonia, that they have developed a great model to manage more effectively their marine resources and fisheries sector, and this is something we want to still engage with. But also with Région Sud, with whom we have been elaborating lots of very interesting activities, actions and plan that we would like to strengthen also during this period. What's interesting, I think, also to see is that we have gone, not a lot, but we have gone also in engaging some sectoral agencies. So it's not about environmentalists sitting together, but it's about engaging and mainstreaming best practices, tools, impressive knowledge and information to support making practices, uses of the sea more environmental friendly. So this mainstreaming mechanism is there, and we have around 25% of the participating groups. They come from different sectors, being small and medium enterprises, business support organizations, or sectoral agencies. And of course, we have lots of NGOs, international organizations, and we have academy, which is needed because we want to engage based on evidence. So evidence-based approaches requires having strong, I would say, science behind, and this is what we have also in this partnership. And I move to something that's a little bit more complex, and I hope it's not very boring. We have mapped also the main policy targets that we want to engage with. In some cases, I guess in most of the cases, we are already there, but there are already, it has been mentioned, I think, by Marie Romani before, there is this EU Green Deal that's coming up. There are these post-2020 new priorities that were not the main, I would say, work that we used to do in the previous phase because we were still not there. But now that there are more declarations on what concretely they will be looking into, we have also had some time to map and see how we would engage with also new and upcoming policies and target groups in this phase. So as you can see, it's very hard to read. I'm sure it's there just to show you that it is quite complex, and it is about engaging at different scales. We want to engage at the global scale, at the sub-regional scale, at the European scale, at the Mediterranean scale, and we have a long list of multi-level key networks and stakeholders that we want to clearly strengthen the engagement with in order to reach further and have further impact. If you see the different colors, they're meant of the tables, they're meant to separate a bit what is really environmental policies from mainstreaming in multi-sectoral policies. So we want to engage with both. You have a more complete table that also includes the reference of the working groups back in the background document that you have on page 16. So you can refer to that and also help us to see whether we have forgotten any, and we will need to add that. Very well. From there, I'm sorry, I need to move the slide. Yes. From there, this is a bit of a highlight of what is broadly our action plan for the upcoming 2 years. So, so I could drive you a bit through this this Gantt chart. We have been, so as you see in the red arrow or triangle, we're by mid-2020, we have used the first 6 months of the project plus the COVID situation that has made us also shift some of the plans, not the priorities, was mainly to develop internally the strategy, to check, to go back in time, see what has been done and could be improved, what has been done and went very well, and to strengthen and so on. So we have put our internal mechanisms together. We have done lots of consultations, try to check synergies with many of you, but also with wider groups of policymakers and regional stakeholders to see how we can plan together for the future. So until mid-2020, we have been engaged heavily in putting this post-2020 strategy for us. And of course, we have engaged with you. We have asked you to send, to fill a survey. Thank you for that. We have asked you to send us some more information to validate some. And all of this for us to be here today and to discuss together how we see us working together in the upcoming period. So all of this is our work, I would say, based on lots of your inputs that we want to validate together. So all what you have in the background document, but also what you see here are proposals. I think they are important and serious proposals, but of course they are to be discussed. They are to be seen whether we have forgot anything, whether with your inputs, network support, we can improve anything, or whether we can add anything. So here we are, as you can see. So we are now in this community building, what you call this community building, this engagement work that we do. So we are revamping today this Mediterranean biodiversity protection community. We're asking you to check what we have sent you, to agree, to disagree. All of this information, it's now that we are developing, putting this together, and we want before the summer break to consolidate and validate with all of your inputs some final strategy and action plans that we will finalize before the summer. So we are here. We want, with your inputs, to adopt the strategy and to validate the roadmaps. We will be doing so through this webinar. We are already engaging you with questions that would help us strengthen, clarify, correct anything that you might see not fitting or you think that might need to be done a different way. We will be, in addition to this webinar, asking you to show your interest for 3 upcoming webinars. I will finalize the webinar today with that. We have some proposed dates for that, to work in smaller groups and to work more on our priority action plans. So all of this would need to happen between June and July. Then also due to the COVID situation, of course, we had to reformulate many of the events we had planned. We were expected to be in 2 days' time in Marseille, in an event that we had planned in the IUCN World Congress that is now shifted to January 2021. So we had to transform part of what we had planned as physical meetings into some webinars. So we plan to have some tailor-made training webinars together with the ministry in Montenegro. We're still checking the dates, but we would like to do that during this year. So there will be a series of webinars to engage with resource managers and future marine protected area managers in Montenegro to support, hopefully, the upcoming declaration of the marine protected area, of 2 marine protected areas there. We also have planned some transfer webinars that were previously meant to be physical meetings. So we had for this year to somehow shift them into webinars. One of them is an ecosystem-based marine spatial planning planners school. So it will be around 1 week. I think it's 4 days as set for now. meeting that was planned for this year. We have shifted it to next year, and we've replaced for this year a webinar. This will be jointly done with the BlueMed initiative. We plan to have a short webinar for the participants that show interest, that we will highlight what we will be developing in the training, and we will keep that training for early next year. So this is one of the upcoming events still to happen this year. We also had initially called for a workshop. It was not it was a follow-up workshop of a workshop we had last year in Herceg Novi in Montenegro that was dealing with how to go into some territorial actions. We were working with a working group around the EPSA, in the Adriatic Ionian region. So a first meeting has happened. We wanted to follow up with a physical meeting this year, but this seems not to be possible neither for the complicated situation of the COVID. So we will also transform that into a webinar this year that will be followed up by a physical meeting, hopefully next year when this situation gets clarified. And this is a collaboration with the EU SAIR instrument, the European instrument for the Southern Adriatic and the Ionian region. So we'll be closely working with this mechanism to ensure that there is also a governance and an acceptance of prioritizing areas for conservation in this region. Then we have planned to be physically present in the upcoming EU Green Week celebration that originally had to take place the first week of June, but was finally shifted to October 20 to 22. So we are planning to have an event. It will be a concrete event around a priority topic, mainly focusing on wetlands, on wetland localization in the Mediterranean, on wetland restoration and the needs. We have engaged the European Commission with wetland topics in the past through different EU working groups that personally at ETC-UMA I deal with that together with my colleague Marco, who's also engaged with us in this webinar. So we work with DG Environment but also DG Klima and trying to engage DG Research as far as possible in prioritizing wetland restoration. Yes, I heard Sirna. I'll try to be fast. And we want to build on that and have hopefully a high impact session happening in Brussels in October. We will be engaging, we have engaged already the Interreg Balkan Med, some regional partners such as WetNet that we have joined their task force on policy, and we want to engage also part of you who are interested to be in that session and to make a clear evidence on the need and to prioritize restoration around wetlands in the whole Mediterranean region. So this is upcoming. We're developing a proposal that hopefully we will share then wider to see the interests. We also, as Marie Romani from Metspan has mentioned before, there will be the upcoming NPA Forum 2020. She mentioned that a save the date will be sent soon. We are engaged in this forum. We want to engage in a session very closely with also the colleagues from SPARAC, from Metspan, from WWF. And the Med Fund, and the idea would be to also highlight main progress that was done from this community in the different topics that will be presented in the NPA Forum. This is also happening, I guess, if the date is still the same, between the end of November and the beginning of December. Then we will have early next year, now shifted to then the IUCN World Congress. There are two events prepared there. I will not go a lot into details. I heard the bell that we will be also engaging you with in terms of the preparation and also hopefully the presence there. And we have a series of transferring events. As we mentioned, the training school will happen hopefully in Venice by the first half of next year, but also several tailor-made trainings on tools to support marine protected areas and resource managers in different regions. We also have planned to have a side event in the upcoming convention of the parties of the Barcelona Convention, the COP22. So we are engaging with UNEP, but also with Union for the Mediterranean to develop a session that's focusing on transboundary aspects and the need to conserve sensitive areas in these regions. And we plan to have our final event in the EU Parliament, very closely again working with the CEARICA Interparliamentarian Group. That will be around April-May 2022. So we will do that because we want to rely on all of the information coming from your project. So we will be engaging you in the different activities. We would like to prioritize where you see yourself best fit, and this is something to come. We want to use the tools, these capitalization tools that we have prepared. So my colleague Sonsoles has already given you a highlight on this knowledge platform that we have developed. It's our main capitalization tool, but also on this tool catalog that we have developed that we want to maintain, of course, but also update with the new developments and the new tools to be coming from the community. And we have this Mediterranean-wide database that we have developed on the relation that is confirmed between biota and the effect on marine litter on them. We plan to still update that twice a year and to have some follow-up information and reports around that. So I don't want to go into the target, the specific targets that we want to reach, but of course, you can, as you can read at the end of the slide, the Natura 2000 network is a very important target to us. The restoration priorities of the biodiversity strategy, the EU biodiversity strategy 2030, and lots of the ongoing, I would say, Mediterranean protocols that we want to engage with and commit to some targets together. So this is a little bit a very broad highlight of what needs to be done. I will go into concrete examples very quickly. Sorry for the timing. So if we take, for example, some priority areas, one of them is how we will act, how we will be strategic and put our priorities in contributing to a more comprehensive network of well-managed many protected areas in the Mediterranean. Also, I think my colleague Marie Romani, she has mentioned already these targets to 2030 to improve the effectiveness of wetlands, to increase the coverage of wetlands up to 30% in the Mediterranean, which is a big challenge, where and how to do that. So with all of your supports, I've listed how different modular projects are generating knowledge and tools, how associated partners are helping, how from our partners networks we will be engaging to get into common deliverables that we have planned for ourselves. So I mentioned this knowledge base. So we base ourselves on evidence. We have the MedBiolitter we want to engage with. We want to validate. We want to update in order for it to be a decision support tool, as well as other sorts of indicators that we have already discussed with several of your projects. We have community engagement tools to improve and to update. We have planned for some policy papers on transformative changes that need to happen to ensure a better conservation and protection in the Mediterranean. We want to support some actions on the ground, territorial actions, and of course this declaration on ecosystem-based management approaches in the Mediterranean. We think it's an interesting tool that we want to still promote and engage with. We have the series of key events. I will not go more into them. I already listed them. So we plan to use these deliverables as a vehicle to present in common events with your presence, of course, where you see best fit, and we will need to dedicate time to see that in order to influence certain responses as I mentioned before, at different levels to engage with different networks. So this is one example on this support to a better comprehensive network of well management MPAs and how we plan to do so. I had two other examples, one focusing on the wetland ecosystems and how we want to engage with part of the community, the associated partners and the partners networks to reach also a validated knowledge base on the presence and the situation of wetlands, the condition of wetlands as ecosystems in the Mediterranean region. So we have part of the advisory board, Tour du Vala, we have WetNet, we have our colleagues from the Interreg Mediterranean Balkan program, and our colleague Eleni Fitoka, who I send a big hello. So thank you for joining us. She has been leading scientifically on a project in the Balkan region that we want to engage with and add to the community in order to develop this common knowledge base. Again, to present in key events. The upcoming key event is this EU Green Week. So there is something really concrete and upcoming very soon that we want to engage you with and prepare for that. Again, to influence some concrete policies and to engage with concrete networks globally, regionally, and hopefully at territorial levels as well. And I had a third example on the sustainable use of natural resources, another priority that we look into, and we want to develop some tools and mechanisms to support during this phase. So specifically, if we focus on the small-scale fisheries topic, we want to engage with different projects, different associated partners and partner network to still engage with the discussion. It's a very important regional discussion, especially for the Mediterranean, where small-scale fisheries are not only sustaining many families, but they are a cultural heritage that is present in the region. It is under threat by many different factors. So we would like to build a better, to improve the conceptual model in terms of how this could happen inside marine protected areas, but also which space needs to be prioritized for the sector just to compete less with other sectors when it is in outside protected areas, so inside and outside protected areas. And we hope to develop some priorities soon and to build on that and see how we want to influence different mechanisms, of course, very closely with the FAO, JFCM, and colleagues from different NGOs that are working on this topic since some years. Yes, so these are clearly some of the examples of the priorities. There is later on a dedicated session for the working groups that I think will let you know a little bit more. I think my last slide for now will be that so as you see, there are many events happening. The COVID situation is not helping, and we will have so many accumulated events to happen in the upcoming period. We have been using, and I think it was quite useful, using a common web platform. I think it was shared with you before, but if not, we will share it again, which everybody can use to add your own events and classify your own events in a way that we can see when somebody from the community is developing any activity, just to reduce overlaps, to increase synergies. So this is something through this companionship process we will be engaging also with you to make sure we have all of your events, you have an understanding of when our events will happen, so we really maximize the synergies together. And as a community, yes, I think Sonsolis has gone into this before. I will not take too much time. We have these spatial viewers that we are developing for the new project. We will go back to you, validate the information we have provided with you, and see what we would be ending up building in these different viewers for the different modular projects. We have a common, I would say, viewer for what we are developing from our side. So one of the images, one of the map actually that you can see on the bottom right is how you can visualize the information on this MedBioLitter platform. This is something that's also on our platform and very useful because it's open access. You can access the information, download the spatial data, but also download the tabular data behind it. Use them, give us comments to improve, to update. So it's quite useful. We have a resource library also on this knowledge platform. We have different thematic data sets, this list that you can see on the left side of the slide, and you have the possibility to analyze information, to overlay spatial information together and to extract something that is of use to you, being a scientist, being a regional governor, or being a policymaker. I think it could be used by different entities, either to overlay or to extract scientific information or to build for your decision on that. So we really want to keep in updating and finding solutions to this web platform, to still being a main capitalization platform for the whole community. For the main I would say tools and products that we have together. Here, as you can see, the biodiversity tool catalog will be updated in spring 2022. That will be the final update. So it will end up being a much bigger tool catalog than now. So as the modular projects will be developing tools, we will be asking you for some inputs to update these templates and validating them with you. We also plan with other Interreg Med communities to do a common product that's called the Inter-Community Toolbox. It is still under preparation. It is in close collaboration with the Blue Growth community. So we are still figuring out what shape it will have, what content it will have, how user-friendly it could be. So all of these details will be coming more in the upcoming period. And we are also very strongly working with the Green Growth community on a common scoping paper targeting the Green Deal, the EU Green Deal, and it's also under preparation, so ongoing. We will let you know once we have more information on that subject. I cannot move further. Serna, did you do anything? Yeah, I cannot do further in the slides, but I think, yes, that was my final slide for now. And there are some questions that were prepared for you, so please feel free to take a minute to reply to them. So based on what you have heard, in which activity would you like to participate? You can always let us know later on if you get interested to an activity that you didn't list now here or select. So no problem, nothing is definite, but we want to understand more where different projects see their priorities. And in case you replied other, just let us know. For now, I don't see any other. Then a question about which upcoming event do you see as most relevant to show your project results? So let us know. We will be anyway informing you about all the upcoming events we have, but in case we have a better understanding on your priorities, that would help. And the last question, I think it's, do you see any other relevant event that maybe we have missed? And there I'm seeing the EU SARE and Western Med key meetings events, and that we must look at South. Yes, sure.
We give 30 seconds and you have another panel of questions.
Okay, so I see that people are not reacting to these anymore. We can maybe go to the other series of questions, Manu, please. So 4 more questions about your preference in terms of the setting of meetings and conferences, whether you prefer plenary conferences or reduced workshops, or you prefer better site visits to present your project outcomes and developments. And in case you have been engaged in the previous phase where our name used to be Panacea, whether you have liked any of the events we have done and you would like to highlight it here, that would help us see what type of settings you prefer for your project and activities. And in case you have clear ideas on what type of upcoming topics you would like to see developed in the future. So we will have a series of community building and capitalization events. If you see that you would like to raise any topic that maybe has not been so far developed or well developed by us, please let us know. And the last one, whether you can suggest any action or event or publication that we could develop together. Maybe something that we did not have in mind, but it's good now that we're validating our action plans to consider this in a way. Thank you. So I see quite some very useful replies that will certainly help us. So we will give, yes, maybe 30 more seconds, and then we move to the next session. Yeah, I see the interactivity stopped on the questions, so maybe we can move to the upcoming session. So here I have again my colleague Sonsoles San Roman, who will kindly present to you the working groups that we have thought about, and will develop a little bit further with other colleagues on the content.
Thank you, Dania, for that intense presentation. Lots of information for participants to grasp. I'm sure you will all have time to look back at the background document, the recording of the webinar, and come back to us with further comments where needed. Now, this, as we're running late, and you've noticed, this section of the agenda is about how we are trying to organize the contents and the thematic focus of our community. And for this, some of you might remember that we organized in the kickoff meeting of Panacea back in the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, a workshop to try to look at the thematic priorities of the different projects that were part of the community. To analyze this, we prepared this kind of thermometer to try and group the projects according to their thematic priorities. This is an update to that exercise. You will see in the slide that in light blue there are the projects that are still ongoing and have been added to our thematic priority, let's say, grouping. And on the right is this infograph image that is trying to convey this feeling of community. We're all working towards biodiversity protection in the Mediterranean. We are very diverse, but we are connected somehow because we all have a common purpose, let's say, protect our nature around us. Now, we are very different, as Nelly said. We have many different events, target policies, target networks, and we try to coordinate all these different members and components in our community to join forces and try to influence our targets in a more efficient way. Let's say we try to build a common front. How are we trying to do that? Well, we're trying to do that by grouping you in 3 working groups. You remember that in phase 1 we had 3 working groups, and I will invite my colleagues now to give you a more detailed but not long explanation of the issues we're going to deal with the different working groups, and to see in which working group or groups you see your project best fitting. Now, you can participate in the 3 working groups. You can participate only in 1 working group. It's up to you. And we will over on top of this working group structure, we will anyway move forward as a community. So before extending more into this, I would like to invite now Caterina Fortuna, our partner in the Marian Institute Croatia, to briefly introduce the working group 1, which is focusing on biodiversity protection and transboundary challenges. This is a new name compared to last year, so we welcome your proposals also on names. Then we will have our colleague Liz Genal from CPMR introducing the working group 2. that is focusing on the sustainable use of natural resources, particularly participatory approaches to and small-scale fisheries. And then working group 3 will be presented by Gloria from Plan Bleu and will be focusing on integrated ecosystem monitoring and management. So Katerina, if you're ready, please go ahead. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Katerina.
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool. Good morning,
Activate
everyone.
the camera.
So my name is Katerina Fortuna. I did. Wait.
Now it's coming. Thank you.
So I'm going to introduce working group 1, speaking on behalf of the Croatian Marine Institute, but I'm also a researcher at the Italian Institute for Environmental Protection and Research. So the next 2 slides, they provide a very succinct introduction to objectives, targets, groups, and main outputs and main events of working group 1, which has, Sonsole just said, is titled Biodiversity, Protection and Transboundary Challenges. This working group is currently coordinated by the European Topic Center, MedCities and the Marine Institute. And its main objective is to improve understanding and disseminate knowledge and awareness on multiple environmental threats, with the ultimate aim to address cumulative pressures and their impact on the biodiversity and ecologically significant areas. And we will be doing this by promoting best practices based on the ecosystem-based management tools and focusing on functional ecosystem. So this working group will work towards the development of a common regional approach to address the impact of 2 main transboundary pressures. And we will be doing that, looking at tools available, best practices on transboundary governance. So the 2 major transboundary pressures that we are going to look at are pollution in terms of marine litter and climate change. These are the pressure and the method I just mentioned as the governance, transboundary governance. We are going to do this by capitalizing on the gain experience of several projects, which were the first slides. I'm sure you saw them. The blue ones are the ones still ongoing. We are guided by a number of policies and target groups. We have target groups, and you have a list there just to give you some examples. I'm not going to say anything about it because Dania already covered it almost completely. We are going to do these activities through a number of activities, which will produce 12 main outputs that you can see in the table on the left-hand side, and 8 main events on the right-hand side. So just to briefly say something about the 3 components of this working group, we have pollution as marine litter. Dania already mentioned the Med BioLitter thematic database, which includes a huge amount of georeference data focused on for over almost 500 studies areas and species, and which contains about 100 articles. These can be used to showcase the impact of marine litters on biodiversity in the Mediterranean. So it's potentially a very useful tool that needs to be updated and improved. The database will be in this new part of the project will be updated with all new published information. It will also consider the possibility to extend its scope to add other types of pollution, like, for example, marine acoustic pollution, noise, basically, which does affect species, especially cetacean species, but not only. We will, of course, prepare a number of documents which will go to enrich the biodiversity protection catalog. This basically for all the three components, the marine litter, the climate change, and the transboundary governance. And we will be aiming to collaborate even more with all relevant IGOs and organizations in the region, like or global organization. Then for climate change, of course, we are aiming to contributing to the debates related to the EU Climate Pact and the EU Green Deal. We will be doing this entertaining discussions, side events at the international fora, and engaging with UCM, for example, also showcasing good practices for the community, from our community, at the EEA Climate Adapt platform. Finally, in terms of transboundary governance, we have a number of activities which Dani already introduced, especially a couple of one school and one workshop, which will focus on the workshop on the transboundary governance in the southern Adriatic and Ionian EPSAs. And the school will be more focused on application of ecosystem-based management and marine spatial planning, targeting mid-career marine scientists and professional that wants to streamline marine conservation and marine science into the planning and the management of marine spaces through the use of a more participatory mechanism. And this, of course, about all these events, you will be informed and you will probably be invited to participate. And you will get much more information on the Working Group 1 if you are interested in participating on the 26th of June, when we will have a webinar to discuss all necessary details. This is all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Caterina. Now can we have please Liz joining for presenting Working Group 2?
Yes, hello. I hope you can see me. Good morning, everyone. I will present the Working Group 2. As you know, this working group is focusing on the sustainable use of natural resources in the Mediterranean area, and we are restarting our activities. As Dania also explained, we have a new webinar planned for the first week of July. So from 2016, this working group developed a particular insight on small-scale fisheries. We had several modular projects who shared their best practices, exchanged their research and results. It mainly involved the project Confish, Fish and Blue 2, Wet Net, and the Pharos for MPAs. I think my webcam was muted, yeah. And at policy level, this Working Group 2 will aim to support the GFCM management plans, the 2017 Malta Declaration for Sustainability for Mediterranean Fisheries, and the EU Common Fisheries Policy. The working group activities also include the monitoring and follow-up of the EMFF, of course, and the CFP, as well as the Blue Growth strategy and other directives related to maritime and environmental issues such as the MSFD, MSP, Birds and Habitats, WFD. So this kind of work will also be in this working group to monitor and to follow up. In the past, this working group collected, analyzed and promoted participatory governance models. First of all, we produced a technical note on participatory approaches towards the co-management of natural resources in coastal and marine areas. Then in 2018, this working group participated at the FAO GFCM Fish Forum through a dedicated workshop where we promoted co-management as an innovative tool for the sustainable use of natural resources. And those experiences actually enabled this working group to identify potential gaps and needs. And we prepared a policy recommendation paper to address multi-level policies and structural governance issues in various countries. So now for this second phase, this working group will pursue a transferring and capitalization work. We want to further identify and also support the development of sustainable management approaches and promoting new management schemes at local, regional and EU levels. So what we will do in the first upcoming months, we have a detailed analysis to be conducted on the new projects to identify your products, your activities that we can support. We know and we are very confident that whether your new project focuses on lands and water or through wetlands governance contracts like it was for WetNet and now TuneUp, or on other specific actions related to the sea and to MPA management like MPA Engage, we are sure that you can contribute and you can add specific examples to our collection and also participate for providing recommendation in line with this working group objectives. So what we have planned in June, we will provide an update of the working group presentation fact sheet and its working plan, so in the few weeks. A technical note will be released in September to complete the collection of best practices, and the TPMR and its Inter-Mediterranean Commission is coordinating this working group. We will surely do a needs and gaps survey conducted to further analyze the transferability potentiality and to better define the policy targets at regional level. Then after this first analysis, we will produce an updated version of the recommendation paper for fall 2021 would be the latest version. And we will also support with some advocacy campaigns, major project activities and recommendations in line with this topic, and such as also the Pharos for MPA's recommendation on small-scale fisheries. And obviously we will maintain a close cooperation with other networks like MedPan, FARNet, the FAO of GFCM, WWF Med, also to have a common dynamic to optimize this transferability of sustainable management approaches and to try to reach in a common collaboration our policy targets. So just to finish, in terms of calendar, we wish to take part in 3 major events this year. So the MedPan Forum, the FARNet events as well. There is an event on the Mediterranean Black Sea in November, and the GFCM FAO Fish Forum. Obviously, this will all depend on the current context, as you know. And as said, Dania, we'll have also this capitalization event with Erica at the end of the project. So for any further information, you can have a look at the publication on the webpage of the working group, and also at the video that we have produced last year on the participatory approaches for better Mediterranean biodiversity protection. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz, so much. That was brief and concise. Now, Gloria, you have a challenge. You need to introduce Working Group 3 also in a small amount of time. Please activate your camera too.
Hello, can you see me? And can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we cannot see you. Now we can see you.
Okay, perfect. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Gloria Lázaro, and I'm representing Plan Blue. I will present the Working Group 3 on integrated ecosystem monitoring and management. This working group aims to address key challenges for the Mediterranean in relation to integrated ecosystem monitoring, contributing to a better understanding of land-sea interactions and wetland ecosystems. And for this purpose, the Working Group 3 will organize transferring and capitalization actions to further identify, disseminate, and support development of integrated ecosystem monitoring and management at Mediterranean, European, and national level. The Working Group 3 is coordinated by ETC-UMA, the Ministry of Montenegro, and Plan Bleu. And in the previous phase, as you can see in the slide, the modular project which were involved were Amare, Ecosystem, Phasor MPA, PostDemet, and WetNet. And in this new phase of MDPC, we propose to the new ones to be involved. As we already said, as Tania said, we will have a webinar at the end of this month where we can discuss together how to work together. Next slide, okay. And the Working Group 3 will focus on the following main target groups and policies: the Ramsar Convention of Wetlands, the Protocol on Integrated Coastal Zone Management in the Mediterranean, the Integrated Monitoring and Assessment Program decision, the UNEP map and the regional activity centers and networks, and other projects outside the community might be invited to contribute to the Working Group 3 activities, as for example, the Interreg Balkan Mediterranean program with a specific project, wet main areas, as Tania said, where we are working together for the Green Week event. And you can see also the main outputs for the two components of this working group. For the land-sea interactions, we plan to do a report from the IUCN World Conservation Congress on nature-based solutions, and two technical fact sheets on best available techniques and best environmental practices on blue energy, and also regional guidelines on cruise and recreational boating. And for wetlands, a fact sheet and a database on valuing Mediterranean wetland ecosystems, and also an advocacy paper highlighting the importance of conservation and restoration of wetlands. And the main event we plan to participate this year, 2020, the Green Week with an event on awareness raising and networking on Mediterranean wetlands. And next year in the IUCN World Conservation Congress with two events, and the Barcelona Convention in Turkey, and in 2022 the capitalization event with the Eureka group. So yes, we hope to exchange with you on the next webinar, and we will be happy to work together.
Thank you, Gloria. I know you made an effort to try and keep it short and concise. So now, yes, now that everybody knows a bit more of what we are planning under each working group, there should be a set of questions that we will like you also to answer. We've shown in the slide our proposal for your participation in the different working groups. But we need to know if you're really interested, if you validate our proposal, so we can approach you in the next few days to set up a working mechanism and how are we going to do all these deliverables together, how we're going to produce documents together, how we're going to coordinate participation in events, etc. So please take 30 seconds to look at this and tell us what do you think about our proposal. Of course, if we don't have time today, are you more than welcome to let us know via email. You have your companion partner that has been introduced earlier. You have the contacts of the lead partner, ETC UMA, that can also help you with that. So do not hesitate to follow up via email if you don't have the time to digest or react to our proposal as we are right now. So once we have completed these questions about the working groups, we're going to briefly go back to Dania as well, who's going to focus on what has been mentioned, but basically focus on what's coming immediately after. I mean, we're in 2020, we have some actions proposed before the end of the year, and then we will, together with the Joint Secretariat, our Program Officer, Francesca Marcato, who's kindly attending this webinar as well, will draw some brief conclusions and follow-up activities. So maybe 10 more seconds, and Dania, I will invite you to speak. Thank you.
So while people are finalizing their comments, I just want to let you know that thank you a lot. There is lots of rich information in the chat. We will have a look at that and try to incorporate any inconsistencies in the slides that you have maybe reacted to, some topics of interest that you have highlighted, a kind invitation to the final wet main areas project on June 23. So we will try to incorporate all of this information also in the upcoming communications we will have with you. We are short in time. I'm really sorry that we are taking a few more minutes from your time. We just discussed internally, so we hope to close at 12:50. So if you bear with us 13 minutes, that would be great. So to me now, and I think I would go through this information quite quickly. So what's coming in the few months is, I think I just here used parts of the bigger slide that I showed you for the 3 years to come to highlight on the activities of this year. As you can see, we are validating the strategies through community building events together with you. We plan to have the action plan developed and finalized with your validation by the end of this summer. As I mentioned, we plan to stick to upcoming previous physical meetings, workshops, and conferences to webinars for this year. So some capacity building, more targeting the Adriatic Ionian region, mainly Montenegro for this year, and 2 transferring webinars that would prepare for the transferring, I would say, meetings that we hope to have finally next year. We will have the EU Green Week, as we mentioned. Hopefully a physical meeting will be taking place. The Commission has facilitated the guidelines. They plan to have physical meetings in October, but also they're keeping the online webinar as a possibility. So we will be applying for a physical meeting in a session there around wetland ecosystems, and a big focus on the Mediterranean ecosystems. But we will see finally whether we would need to adapt to a webinar if we see that the situation is not helping. So these reconfirmations we would need to do as we go. And we will have the MPA Forum 2020 hopefully still going on as expected, and that we will be very much in contact with MedPan and SPIRAC and WWF to fine-tune and see how the involvement will be, and get back to you on that. So these are very quickly what is to be expected for this year. After that, I think that, Manu, you would need maybe to activate the questions. I think we had a few questions, isn't it? Yeah. So you have a few questions. Take please 2 minutes if you want to answer them. The first one is, in which activity presented in the upcoming months would you like to participate in? Of course, you can now express your interest, but later on let us know if you finally would like to participate in something more, but I think it's good to know. In which coming event would you like to participate? What is your opinion? What, in your opinion, is the most effective communication channel we should use with your project? Do you have any preferences? Which are they? What, in your opinion, is the most effective communication channel we should use with decision makers? Yeah, maybe 20 more seconds and we move to the other questions. Maybe we can move to the rest of the questions if possible. Okay, so 3 more questions. What, in your opinion, is the most effective communication channel we should use with the overall community? So among each others, what do you think would fit you best? What, in your opinion, is the most effective communication channel we should use with MPA managers? And what, in your opinion, is the main obstacle to more effective collaboration towards biodiversity protection? So though general, I think they would help us also fine-tune what we are doing in the meantime. Thank you. Maybe 20 more seconds and we move to the conclusions. Yeah, I think we can move now. Yeah. So yes, I hope that the information presented so far is a good starting point to see how and in which way and under which priority topics we will be discussing in the near future. That was a bit most of the, I would say, yeah, the information we wanted to share with you in this restricted time. We are aware of that. We asked our colleague from the Joint Secretariat of Interreg Med Program, our colleague Francesca Marcato, to join us, as she always does, and to give us a brief also highlight of what the program is aiming for the program itself, but also for the community. So few minutes for you, Francesca. Thank you for activating your webcam.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, we can hear you perfectly. We cannot see you.
Okay. Perfect, okay. You can hear me?
We can hear you, yes.
Okay.
But you need to activate the camera. There is, exactly, now we can see you and hear you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for the organization of this webinar, first of all. It's nice to see project approved, but also representative of project ended the last year or at the beginning of this year. So thank you to be always on board. And from my side, some update at program level. Just to inform you that just today we have sent a save the date concerning our capitalization event that will be organized this year. It was forecasted to organize it in Paris, but finally we will organize online, and it will be held the 6th November. The topic of this event will be governance. So considering that we have at the final phase of this programming period, we would like to show the results of our architecture, but mainly based on Panoramed. and also some example, if possible, of projects that have provided some good results on governance models, or strategies or methodologies, and so on. And we would like also to invite other programs to talk about the future of territorial cooperation, but also other, why not, initiatives in Mediterranean area that have put in place other governance processes or similar processes as ours. And I would like also to inform you that as talking about the future, we are working now with the task forces for the next programming period. We had already some meetings on that, and we have two task forces this month also. One focus on main priorities for the next programming period, so we are working on main content that will be discussed with member states, and also about the new architecture, so if we maintain this type of structure of the program, or if we intend to, which type of projects we intend to put in place for the next programming period. So we are working on that, and in this sense I remind you that we have opened a public consultation in our website, and you can participate until the end of this month. So you have time to participate and to give your feedback on in which way the program can contribute to mainly to the Green Deal for the next programming period. I just also a few words on the coordination mechanism that we are putting in place with representative of horizontal projects, strategic projects, and Panoramed. We are already organized several meetings, and yesterday in Madrid one, and yesterday another one, try to explain in which way we would like to follow and strengthen this type of coordination. With the idea is to have different type of working groups, one on mainstreaming, another one communication, another on capitalization, and so on, and have small working groups that are working on these topics, and strengthen synergies with projects. That is the idea. And we, from the program, we continue to organize these events, and also we provide with the newsletter each 2 months to this coordination team. So all these things are in place now, and I just a few words on the European Union Green Week, but okay, it was already previously explained by Dania. So biodiversity protection will participate, thanks also to synergies with the Balkan Med program. And just some advice for the future for the biodiversity protection community. I really advise to further show your efforts and synergies and results that you are provided with other horizontal projects, and also to integrate step by step also in the process the strategic projects. So that's all from my side.
Yes, thank you a lot, Francesca, for the short overview and for informing about key dates to have in mind. And thank you for also the comments for the EU Green Week, and also for improvements for the future. So we surely take all of this on board. I think for the sake of time, I will just be introducing a few save the dates. I think I have them in one slide exactly. So before just closing and going for a common picture together, for you to know that, of course, that was an introduction, and really trying to introduce so many topics in very short time. So it was a bit challenging to put all of this together, but I hope at least you are going out of this webinar with a bit of of a taste of what is to be expected, what are we planning for, and to see what preferences you would have to contribute and in which ways. Now, to go a little bit deeper into the discussions, we have planned 3 upcoming webinars that focus on the 3 working groups that we have shortly presented to put the action plans on the table and to discuss more the details. So for working group 1, that's focusing on biodiversity protection and transboundary issues, we plan to have the upcoming webinar on June 26th. We will send you the information, but please save the date. For now, the day, we will let you know which timing it will be, so you make sure that you are on board if you are interested. For working group 2, that focuses on sustainable use of natural resources. It will take place on July 3. We also will send you details for the timing. And for working group 3, that's focusing on land-sea interface questions and wetland ecosystems, it will take place on June 25, 2020. So the outcome of these upcoming webinars will be the production of, I would say, a communicative way to address our action plans through fact sheets for each working group. So that will be the outcome after we validate our action plans together. And we also, in parallel, are envisaging in this phase to have a communication task force meeting to be organized between the Mediterranean Biodiversity Protection Community Project and all of your projects at the side of how we can have higher impacts in communicating things together, how we can address synergies clearly since the beginning, how we can address several issues that we plan for, that you plan for. We have already sent to several of you based on requests the strategy of communication that we have developed, but we want to go into details. So there will be an invitation to communication officers to be sent out soon from our side. So for you to know that this will also be happening, I guess, before the summer break as well. This is it mainly from our side. We had in mind and we had prepared for a short questionnaire for you to put some comments on before you leave, but seeing the time, we decided that we will move that and we'll send it to you very shortly by email. So please reserve a bit of time to let us know how were your expectations, if they have been met, not have been met, your interests, and so on. So that will come by email soon. And from my side and from the side of the team, I think, we would like to really thank you for your time, for your patience. It's not very easy to make such meeting, expected to be very interactive through a webinar, but we are getting there. I think we are improving our technical and technological skills all over the world. And if I'm not wrong, it's the time now to have a family picture. So I leave Mireia maybe to give us some instructions, and thanking you all for your time and patience, and happy to see you. We cannot hear you, Mireia.
Now? Yes. Okay.
Now we can.
Okay, so, well, I'm Mireia from MedCities, for those who don't know me. And now I will ask you to turn on your camera so we can do a nice picture, a family picture of the group. And so before just ending this webinar, that would be nice. Thank you. Okay, I see you all. Nice. Just a smile.
Women in this community, I can see.
I will wait 30 seconds because I see people that's, okay, just bring nice the hair and okay. Katerina is coming, okay. And Manuel, do we have a maximum of people that we can see?
I don't think.
Okay, because I'm just seeing more people coming and turning on the camera. Nice. Okay, I think we are 22 with the camera open, so nice representation. Okay, I think we get it.
We can say bye also, another picture.
Yeah, of course. Perfect, nice. Okay.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Talk again soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.